It's a new day. Hey, what's up? So today we're going to be reading The Last Unicorn, Chapter 7. It's a big one, guys. um, Hold on a minute. Gotta look this up so I can see y'all's chats. Let me see. Because I'm trying to, there we go. There we go. So I can now see everyone's chat, and I'm using my phone this time, my other phone, just in case, because on the Switch you can't really mute or block anybody, you know what I mean? But yes. And also, um so do you guys know how my favorite movie, like the scary ones, is Ready or Not? The one, what's it called, with, I forgot the actress's name, but it's such a good movie, honestly. They have a second one coming out, and I'm confused as to why, because the movie is super good all on its own. I don't think it needs a second movie. You know what I mean? Mm, that is kind of sketchy. It is kind of sketchy, if you ask me. But yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. I am here to chat with y'all today. I'm drinking my juice. Oh my goodness. But yes, everyone, make sure you grab your drink. You stay hydrated. It's allergies, guys. I'm okay. I'm fine. Yeah, make sure y'all stay hydrated, and I'll be reading soon. Let's see. Chapter 7. 1, 2, 3. The town of Hagsgate was shaped like a footprint. Long toes splaying from a broad paw and ending in the dark claws of a digger. And indeed, where the other towns in King Haggard's realm seemed to scratch like sparrows at the mean land, Hags... See, I don't know what's going on with my throat today. Hagsgate was well and deeply dug in. Its streets were smoothly paved, its gardens glowed, and its proud houses might have grown up out of the earth, like trees. Lights shone in every window, and the three travelers could hear voices, and dogs barking, and dishes being scrubbed until they squeaked. They halted by a high hedge, wondering, "Do you suppose we took a wrong turn somewhere? And this isn't Hagsgate at all?" Molly whispered. She brushed foolishly at her helpless rags and tatters. "I knew I should have brought my good dress," she sighed. Shmendrick rubbed the back of his neck wearily. "It's Hagsgate," he answered her. "It must be Hagsgate. And yet there's no smell of sorcery, no air of black magic. But why the legends, then? Why the fables and fairy tales? Very confusing, especially when you've had half a turnip for dinner." The unicorn said nothing. Beyond the town, darker than dark, King Haggard's castle teetered like a lunatic on stilts. And beyond the castle the sea slid. The scent of the Red Bull moved in the night, cold among the town's smells of cooking and living. Shmendrick said, "The good people must all be indoors, continuing their blessings. I'll hail them." He stepped forward and threw back his cloak, but he had not yet opened his mouth when a hard voice said out of the air, "Save your breath, stranger, while you have it." Four men sprang from behind the hedge. Two of them set their swords at Shmendrick's throat, while another guarded Molly with a pair of pistols. The fourth approached the unicorn to seize her mane, but she reared up, shouting fiercely, and he jumped away. "Your name," the man who had first spoken demanded of Shmendrick. He was middle-aged or more, as were they all, dressed in fine, dull clothing. Gick, said the magician, because of the swords. Gick, mused the man with the pistols. An alien name. Oh, hold on, guys. Let me see. Kevin, you mean my shoes, right? Hello. Sorry, guys. I'll continue reading. I will put you on timeout. There you go. Hello, Riley. How are you doing? Actually, let me continue reading. Or would you like to chat? I can start the chapter again, if you would like to chat. I don't mind. I enjoy chatting. Nah. Alright. Thank you for stopping by, Riley Adams. And make sure you stay hydrated. Okay, guys, I will continue. All names are alien in Hagsgate. Well, Mr. Gick, he went on, lowering his sword slightly to the point where Shmendrick's collarbones converged. If you and Miss Gick would kindly tell us what brings you sulking here. Shmendrick found his voice at that. I hardly know the woman, he roared. My name is Shmendrick, Shmendrick the magician, and I am hungry and tired and unpleasant. Put those things away, or you'll each have a scorpion by the wrong end. The four men looked at one another. A magician, said the first man. The very thing. Two of the others nodded, but the man who had tried to capture the unicorns grumbled. Anyone can say he's a magician these days. The old standards are gone. The old values have been abandoned. Besides, a real magician has a beard. Well, if he isn't a magician, the first man said lightly, he'll wish he were, soon enough. He sheathed his sword and bowed to Shmendrick and Molly. I am Drin, he said, and it is possibly a pleasure to welcome you to Hagsgate. You spoke of being hungry, I believe. That's easily remedied. And then perhaps you will do us a good turn in your professional capacity. Come with me. Grown suddenly gracious and apologetic, he led them toward a lighted inn, while the three other men followed close behind. More townsfolk came running up now, streaming eagerly from their houses with their own dinners half eaten and their tea left steaming, so that by the time Shmendrick and Molly were seated, there were nearly 100 people wedged together on the inn's long benches, jamming into the doorway and falling through the windows. The unicorn, unnoticed, paced slowly after, a white mare with strange eyes. Oh, hi, King Batch. This is The Last Unicorn, Chapter 7. It is a fantasy book. Yeah, no, it's not Harry Potter. I do have Harry Potter, but I only have up to the third book. Hi, Onyx Baloney. Welcome. Nah, you're fine, King Bat. I started pretty early. Maybe I should wait 10 minutes before I start reading next time. That would be smart. I wouldn't want anyone to feel like they can't chat. Oh no, this is not VR. This is reality, an app on the Apple Store and on the Android Store. I'm getting them. So this one I got from Second and Charles, and some of my books I got from Barnes and Noble, and others off Amazon. Like I shop pretty much anywhere as long as I like the books or I've read them before. I can't play VR. I would like to. I do have a PlayStation, but I don't think I can. You like the little caterpillar? Are you talking about the rainbow caterpillar book, like the kids book? Hold on, guys. I will start the chapter all over after a nice chat with y'all. I don't want y'all to feel like, you know, like y'all can't chat. Or like if y'all would like to chat amongst each other while I read, that's fine too. I have an Xbox One. Like, bro, you're reading My Little Pony, but grown up. Yeah, actually, I have a book that I'm planning to read sometime on this channel, and it's called Behooved. And I feel like that's more grown up My Little Pony than what I'm reading right now. What I'm reading right now is like Teen My Little Pony, and then I'll be reading Behooved, which is the adult or young adult My Little Pony. Well, someday. I do have the book on me right now. There you go. You could hear it. I read my books physically. I like to collect things physically because I like to own the things that I have. I am legal. I will not be sharing my real age because I like my privacy. Anything that could make me or like people know where I live and stuff like that, I am kind of scared of. So I don't really share my age, but I am legal. You got My Little Ponies just if it was depressing. Well, it's getting there because yeah, kinda. Like legal is like not a kid. But I am Mexican. But what's it called? Yeah. All right. I am not Carlos. Oh, King Bat. I am no torta either. I take that not very lightly. So respectfully, don't call me that, please. I might go play GTA in a little. That's fine, Riley. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Type. I am not King Bat. I will mute you if you continue. I like and stuff. Thank you so much, Riley. I do not know your name. No problem. Of course. Thank you, Riley. King Bat, I don't know you like that. And also, like, those are not funny jokes. I don't joke like that, at least. Not on my channel. And not in real life either. I feel like it's in really poor taste. I like more like punny things or like what's that word? Situational funniness. Like seeing somebody fall in a really funny way. Were you serious? I meant legal as in like an age. But feel free to chat amongst each other. I don't know. I don't think that's a knee slapper though. We all have different humors, okay? Alright, guys. I will be reading once again. Dude. Okay. I will start the chapter over, right? So that we can get on track and see what it's like. But yes, please keep those jokes from my page because they are not funny to me. I care about all of the people. I am for the people. Oh, don't worry. You could look at your history, Riley, and find it again. If you ever feel like chatting again, feel free to chat amongst each other, but keep it respectful. Oh, I think they're talking about the house on the what's that called? The what is it? Interface of YouTube? But yeah, feel free to chat amongst each other respectfully. And or if y'all have any more things that y'all would like to chat about, please let me know. That is respectful, and or we could have like a funny chat or something. Chat about movies. Um as I said in the beginning of the stream, I don't think Ready or Not 2 needs to happen. Because she already got rid of the. Well, you know what I mean. I don't know if y'all have seen Ready or Not 1, but that ending like should have like finished everything. I don't see why they need to make a second one. You want to know what I think about that? I think he is despicable and disgusting. And I also think if you're talking about the files, I also think that it's disgusting. I do not support that person. And also I do not support Tangerine, if you know what I'm saying. On the bottom left corner. Yeah, yeah. I knew what Riley was talking about. I have not seen the Titanic fully because it's kind of boring to me. I prefer what's the name of that one? I actually prefer what is it called? Pride and Prejudice. I like Pride and Prejudice. It's one of my favorite romance movies because there's no excessive drug use, there's no excessive drinking, there's just like kind-hearted sassery. The sass between I think her name's Elizabeth and the guy. Yeah, Titanic is boring. You don't think it's boring? I prefer Pride and Prejudice. I don't know if that makes me a prune or whatever, but right now you're watching Family Guy. Actually, my parents never let me watch that. I am over that. So that's all I'll be saying though about my age, for real. You naming movies old heads haven't seen. Oh. Wait, no, look. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I will not say it. I will not say it, Riley. But yeah, I just like it. I like the interactions between the main characters. You're 9? You're kidding, right? Bruh. Well, I don't make streams for kids, honestly, guys. So sorry. I mean, I am reading fantasy, but honestly, I like me, I don't watch Family Guy. Okay, my parents never let me. Also, I never got into that kind of humor. Sorry if y'all hear a bunch of music. The people downstairs are playing their music. King Batch. That is not funny, bro. Come on. You watch Squid Game? Oh my gosh. And you said you're 9? Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. Let's not watch movies that we are not ready for, okay? When we are younger. Why don't we stick to animated pretty movies like Studio Ghibli, you know? What's your favorite Studio Ghibli movie? I like The Secret World of Arietta and what else? I know there's another one. Whisper of the Heart. I like Whisper of the Heart better than The Secret World of Arietta. Those are my two favorite Studio Ghibli movies. They're very sweet, nice movies. You must be watching people play ink games on Roblox. Keep watching Coco. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't think Cocomelon's like if you're like 5 or under, right? I'm allowed to. I mean, look, I am not your parent. It's not up to me. But I would say don't do that. I mean, Bluey's for everybody. Be honest. Be for real. Bluey's for everybody. I don't know about Peppa Pig. Hello, Monica. What's good? I'm just saying. All right. How you doing? Eh. Good. All right. That's good. But guys, remember, I don't stream for kids. So if y'all hear anything y'all don't like or your parents do not approve of, your parents should be looking at this and saying if they want y'all to watch it or not. Okay? That's me just warning y'all already. Which dog? Oh, brother. OP? Who is Timmy, brother? All right, feel free to chat amongst each other, but keep it nice and cordial. Okay? I will start reading, but I will be looking through from time to time and seeing if everything is, staying respectful and kind. I'm telling you all right now, I time out, I mute without mercy. So, y'all, y'all behave, okay? Don't have me talking to y'all like dogs, okay? I work at a doggy daycare, and I tell them like, no, humpy, no, sir, or I go like, come on, we gotta go, we gotta get this going. You know what I'm saying? I talk to them like that. Okay, can you do a Q&A video one day? I can do a Q&A live stream one day. Cause right now I'm sticking to just chatting and live reading, but you know what? Of course, I would be happy to do that for you. As long as the questions are respectful, okay, guys? And also, don't take that as an insult about the dog thing. I love dogs. Dogs are my favorite animal in the whole world. If you know what a crazy lady's house looks like, that's what I want my house to look like, but with dogs. I don't watch Peppa Pig. Alright, guys, I will be reading chapter 7 of The Last Unicorn now. Thank you for watching. And once I finish, we can chat a little longer. Thank you. The town of Hagsgate was shaped like a footprint, long toes splaying from a broad paw and ending in the dark claws of a digger. And indeed, where the other towns of King Haggard's realm seemed to scratch like sparrows at the mainland, Hagsgate was well and deeply dug in. Its streets were smoothly paved, its gardens glowed, and its proud houses might have grown up out of the earth, like trees. Lights shone in every window, and the three travelers could hear voices and dogs barking, and dishes being scrubbed until they squeaked. They halted by a high hedge, wondering, "Do you suppose we took a wrong turn somewhere? And this isn't Hagsgate at all?" Molly whispered. She brushed foolishly at her helpless rags and tatters, I knew I should have brought my good dress, she sighed. Shmendrick rubbed the back of his neck warily. It's Hagsgate, he answered her. It must be Hagsgate, and yet there's no smell of sorcery, no air of black magic. But why the legends then? Why the fables and fairy tales? Very confusing, especially when you've had half a turnip for dinner. The unicorn said nothing. Beyond the town, darker than dark, King Haggard's castle tittered like a lunatic on stilts. And beyond the castle, the sea slid. The scent of the Red Bull moved in the night. Cold among the town smells of cooking and living, Shmendrick said. The good people must all be indoors, counting their blessings. I'll hail them. He stepped. You said Bowie? He stepped forward and threw back his cloak. But he had not yet opened his mouth when a hard voice said out of the air, Save your breath, stranger, while you have it. 4 men sprang from behind the hedge. 2 of them set their swords at Shmendrick's throat, while another guarded Molly with a pair of pistols. The 4th approached the unicorn to seize her mane, but she reared up, shunning fiercely, and he jumped away. Your name, the man who had first spoken demanded of Shmendrick. He was middle-aged or more, as were they all dressed in fine, dull clothing. Gick, said the magician, because of the swords. Gick, mused the man with the pistols. An alien name. Naturally, the first man said. All names are alien in Hagsgate. Well, Mr. Gick, he went on, lowering his swords slightly to the point where Shmendrick's collarbones converged. If you and Miss Gick would kindly tell us what brings you sulking here. Shmendrick found his voice at that. I hardly know the woman, he roared. My name is Shmendrick, Shmendrick the magician, and I am hungry and tired and unpleasant. Put those things away, or you'll each have a scorpion by the wrong end. The 4 men looked at one another. A magician, said the first man. The very thing. 2 of the others nodded, but the man who had tried to capture the unicorn grumbled. Anyone can say he's a magician these days. The old standards are gone. The old values have been abandoned. Besides, a real magician has a beard. Well, if he isn't a magician, the first man said lightly, he'll wish he were one soon enough. He sheathed his sword and bowed to Shmendrick and Molly. I am Drin, he said, and it is possibly a pleasure to welcome you to Hagsgate. You spoke of being hungry, I believe. That's easily remedied. And then perhaps you will do us a good turn in your professional capacity. Come with me. Grown suddenly gracious and apologetic, he led them toward a lighted inn, while the 3 other men followed close behind. More townsfolk were running up now, streaming eagerly from their houses, with their own dinners half eaten and their tea left steaming. So that by the time Shmendrick and Molly were seated, there were nearly 100 people wedged together on the inn's long benches, jamming into the doorway and falling through the windows. The unicorn, unnoticed, paced slowly after a white mare with strange eyes. The man named Drin sat at the table with Shmendrick and Molly, chattering as they ate, and filling their glasses with a furry black wine, while Molly drank very little. She sat quietly looking at the faces around her and noting that none seemed any younger than Drin's face, though a few were much older. There was a way in which all the Hagsgate faces were very much alike, but she could not find it. And now, Drin said when the meal was over, now you must permit me to explain why we greeted you so uncivilly. Pish, no need, Shmendrick chuckled. The wine had made him chuckly and easy, and had brightened his green eyes to gold. What I want to know is the reason for the rumors that have Hagsgate full of ghouls and werewolves. Most absurd thing I've ever heard of. Drin smiled. He was a naughty man with a turtle's hard, empty jaws. It's the same thing, he said. Listen, the town of Hagsgate is under a curse. The room was suddenly very still, and in the beery light of faces of the townsfolk looked as tight and pale as cheese. Shmendrick laughed again. A blessing, you mean? In this bony kingdom of old haggards, you are like another land altogether, a spring, an oasis. I agree with you that there's enchantment here, but I drink to it. Drin stopped him as he raised his glass. Not that toast, my friend. Will you drink to a woe 50 years old? It is that long since our sorrow fell, when King Haggard built his castle by the sea. When the witch built it, I think. Shmendrick waved a finger at him. Credit where it's due, after all. Ah, you know that story, Drin said. Then you must also know that Haggard refused to pay the witch when her task was completed. The magician nodded. Aye, and she cursed him for his greed, cursed the castle, rather. But what had that to do with Hagsgate? The town had done the witch no wrong. No, Drin replied, but neither had it done her any good. She could not unmake the castle, would not, for she fancied herself an artistic sort and boasted that her work was years ahead of its time. Anyway, she came to the elders of Hagsgate and demanded that they force Haggard to pay what was due to her. Look at me and see yourself, she rasped. That's the true test of a town or of a king. A lord who cheats an ugly old witch will cheat his own folk by and by. Stop him while you can before you grow used to him. Drin sipped his wine and thoughtfully filled Shmendrick's glass once more. Haggard paid her no money, he went on, and Hagsgate, alas, paid her no heed. She was treated politely and referred to the proper authorities, whereupon she flew into a fury and screamed that in our eagerness to make no enemies at all, we had now made two. He paused, covering his eyes with lids so that Molly was sure he could see through them like a bird. With his eyes closed, he said, It was then that she cursed Haggard's castle, and cursed our town as well. Thus his greed brought ruin upon us all. In the sighing silence, Molly Grew's voice came down like a hammer on a horseshoe, as though she were again berating poor Captain Cully. Haggard's less at fault than you yourselves, she mocked the folk of Hagsgate, for he was only one thief, and you were many. You earned your trouble by your own avarice, not your king's. Drin opened his eyes and gave her an angry look. We earned nothing, he protested. It was our parents and grandparents whom the witch asked for help. And I'll grant you that they were as much to blame as King Haggard, in their way. We would have handled the matter quite differently. And every middle-aged face in the room scowled at every older face. One of the old men spoke up in a voice that wheezed and meowed. You would have done just as we did. There were crops to harvest and stock to tend, as there still is. There was Haggard to live with, and there still is. We know very well how you would have behaved. You are our children. Drin glowered him down, and other men began to shout spitefully. But the magician quieted them all by asking, What was the curse? Could it have anything to do with the Red Bull? The name rang coldly, even in the bright room, and Molly felt suddenly lonely. On an impulse, she added her own question, though it had nothing to do with the conversation. Have any of you ever seen a unicorn? It was then that she heard two things: the difference between silence and utter silence, and that she had been quite right to ask that question. The Haggsgate faces tried not to move, but they did move. Drin said carefully, "We never see the bull, and we never speak of him. Nothing that concerns him can be any business of ours. As for unicorns, there are none. There never were." He poured the black wine again. "I will tell you the words of the curse," he said. He folded his hands before him and began to chant. "You whom Haggard holds in thrall, share his feast and share his fall. You shall see your fortune flower, till the torrent takes the tower. Yet none but one of Haggsgate's town may bring the castle swirling down." A few others joined in as he recited the old malediction. Their voices were sad and far, as though they were not in the room at all, but were tumbling in the wind high over the inn's chimney, helpless as dead leaves. "What is it about their faces?" Molly wondered. "I almost know." The magician sat silently by her, rolling his wine glass in his long hands. "When those words were first spoken," Drin said, "Haggard had not been long in the country, and all of it was still soft and blooming, all but the town of Haggsgate. Haggsgate was then, as this land has become, a scrabbly, bare place where men put great stones on the roofs of their huts to keep them from blowing away." He grinned bitterly at the older men. "Crops to harvest, stock to tend. You grew cabbages and rutabagas, and a few pelled potatoes, and in all of Haggsgate there was but one weary cow. Strangers thought the town accursed, having offended some vindictive witch or other." Molly felt the unicorn go by in the street, then turn and come back, restless as the torches on the walls that bowed and wriggled. She wanted to run out to her, but instead she asked quietly, "And afterward? When that had come true?" Drin answered, "From that moment we have known nothing but bounty. Our grim earth has grown so kind that gardens and orchards spring up by themselves. We need neither to plant nor to tend them. Our flocks multiply. Our craftsmen become more clever in their sleep. The air we breathe and the water we drink keep us from ever knowing illness. All sorrow parts to go around us. And this has come about while the rest of the realm, once so green, has shriveled to cinders under Haggard's hand. For 50 years, none but he and we have prospered. It is as though all others had been cursed." "Share his feast and share his fall," Shmendrick murmured. I see." He gulped another glass of the black wine and laughed. "But old King Haggard still rules, and will until the sea overflows. You don't know what a real curse is. Let me tell you my troubles." Easy tears suddenly glittered in his eyes. "To begin with, my mother never liked me. She pretended, but I knew." Drin interrupted him, and just then Molly realized what was strange about the folk in Haggsgate. Everyone of them was well and warmly dressed, but the faces that peered out of their fine clothes were the faces of poor people, cold as ghosts and too hungry to eat. Drin said, "That none but one of Haggsgate's town may bring the castle swirling down. How can we delight in our good fortune when we know that it must end, and that one of us will end it? Every day makes us richer, and brings us one day nearer to our doom. Magician, for 50 years we have lived leanly, avoided attachments, untied all habits, readying ourselves for the sea. We have taken not a moment's joy in our wealth, or in anything else. For joy is just one more thing to lose. Pity Hagsgate, strangers. For in all the wretched world there can be no town more unhappy. Lost, 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 the townsfolk whimpered. Misery, misery we. Molly Grew stared wordlessly at them, but Shmendrick said respectfully, That's a good curse. That's a professional job. I always say, whatever you're having done, go to an expert. It pays in the long run. Drain frowned, and Molly nudged Shmendrick. The magician blinked. Oh, well, what is it you wish for of me? I must warn you that I am not a very skillful sorcerer, but I will be glad to lift this curse from you if I can. I had not taken you for any more than you are, Grin answered. But such as you are, you should do as well as any. I think we will leave the curse the way it is. If it were lifted, we might not become poor again, but we would no longer grow steadily richer. And that would be just as bad. No, our real task is to keep Haggard's tower from falling. And since the hero who will destroy it can only come from Hagsgate, this should not be impossible. For one thing, we allow no strangers to settle here. We keep them away, by force if we must, but more often by guile. Those dark tales of Hagsgate that you spoke of, we invented them ourselves, and spread them as widely as we could to make certain that we would have few visitors. He smiled proudly with his hollow jaws. Shmendrick propped his chin on his knuckles and regarded Drin with a sagging smile. What about your own children? He asked. How can you keep one of them from growing up to fulfill the curse? He looked around the inn, sleepily studying every wrinkled face that looked back at him. Come to think of it, he said slowly, there are no young people in this town. How early do you send children to bed in Hagsgate? No one answered him. Molly could hear blood creaking in ears and eyes, and skin twitching like water plucked by the wind. Then Drin said, We have no children. We have had none since the day that the curse was laid upon us. He coughed into his fist and added, It seemed the most obvious way of foiling the witch. Shmendrick threw back his head and laughed without making a sound. Laughed to make the torches dance. Molly realized that the magician was quite drunk. Drin's mouth disappeared, and his eyes hardened into cracked porcelain. I see no humor in our plight, he said softly. None at all. None, Shmendrick gurgled, bowing over the table and spilling his wine. None, pardon me, none, none at all. Under the angry gaze of 200 eyes, he managed to recover himself and reply seriously to Drin. Then it would seem to me that you have no worries, none that would worry you anyway. A small wee of laughter sneaked out between his lips, like steam from a tea kettle. So it would seem. Drin leaned forward and touched Shmendrick's wrist with 2 fingers. But I have not told you all the truth. 21 years ago, a child was born in Hagsgate. Whose child it was, we never knew. I found it myself as I was crossing the marketplace one winter's night. It was lying on a butcher's block, not crying, although there was snow, but warm and chuckling under a comforter of stray cats. They were all purring together, and the sound was heavy with knowledge. I stood by the strange cradle for a long time, pondering while the snow fell and the cats purred prophecy. He stopped, and Molly Grew said eagerly, You took the child home with you, of course, and raised it as your own? Drin laid his hands palm up on the table. I chased the cats away, he said, and went home alone. Molly's face turned the color of mist. Drin shrugged slightly. I know the birth of a hero when I see it, he said. Omens and portents, snakes in the nursery. Had it not been for the cats, I might have chanced the child. But they made it so obvious, so mythological. What was I to do, knowingly harbor Hagsgate's doom? His lip twitched, as though a hook had set in it. As it happened, I erred, but it was on the side of tenderness. When I returned at sunrise, the baby had vanished. Shmendrick was drawing pictures with his finger, in a puddle of wine, and might have heard nothing at all. Drin went on. Naturally, no one ever admitted to leaving the child in the marketplace, and though we searched every house from cellar to dovecote, we never found it again. I might have concluded that wolves had taken the brat, or even that I had dreamed the whole encounter, cats and all, but for the fact that on the very next day a herald of King Haggard's came riding into town, ordering us to rejoice. After 30 years of waiting, the king had a son at last. He looked away from the look on Molly's face. Our foundling, incidentally, was a boy. No, Riley, don't be sad. We all get busy. I understand. Shmendrick licked the tip of his finger and looked up. Lur, he said thoughtfully. Prince Lur. But there was no other way to account for his appearance? Not likely, Drin snorted. Any woman that would marry Haggard, even Haggard would refuse. He gave out the tale that the boy was a nephew, whom he graciously adopted on the death of his parents. But Haggard has no relatives, no family. There are those who say that he was born of an overcast, as Venus was born out of the sea. No one would give King Haggard a child to raise. The magician calmly held out his glass, and filled it himself when Drin refused. Well, he got some... Hold on, guys, I gotta check on my baby. There we go. Okay. The magician calmly held out his glass and filled it himself when Drin refused. Well, he got one somewhere, and good for him. But how could he have come by your little cat baby? Drin said. He walks in Hagsgate at night. Not often, but now and then. Many of us have seen him, tall, haggard, grey as driftwood, prowling alone under the iron moon, picking up dropped coins, broken dishes, spoons, stones, handkerchiefs, rings, stepped on, apples, anything, everything, no reason to it. It was Haggard who took the child. I am as certain of it as I am certain that Prince Lur is the one who will topple the tower and sink Haggard and Hagsgate together. I hope he is, Molly broke in. I hope Prince Lur is that baby you left to die, and I hope he drowns your town, and I hope the fish nibble you bare as corn cobs. Shmendrick kicked her ankle as hard as he could, for the listeners were beginning to hiss like embers, and a few were racing to their feet. He asked again, What is it you wish of me? You are on your way to Haggard's castle, I believe. Shmendrick nodded. Ah, Drin said. Now a clever magician would find it simple to become friendly with Prince Lur, who is erupted to be a young man of eagerness and curiosity. A clever magician might be acquainted with all manner of odd potions and powders, poppets and philters, herbs and banes and unguents? Unguents? A clever magician, mind you. I said clever, no more. A clever magician might be able, under the proper circumstances. He let the rest drift away unspoken, but no less said. for a meal?" Shmendrick stood up, knocking his chair over. He leaned on the table with both hands, breathing harshly. "Is that the going rate these days? Dinner and wine, the price of a poisoned prince? You'll have to do better than that, friend Drin. I wouldn't do in a chimney sweep for such a fee." Molly gripped his arm, crying, "What are you saying?" The magician shook her hand away, but at the same time he lowered one eyelid in a slow wink. Drin leaned back in his chair, smiling. "I never haggle with a professional," he said. 25 pieces of gold." They haggled for half an hour, Shmendrick demanding 100 gold pieces, and Drin refusing to offer more than 40. At least they settled at 70, half to be paid then and half upon Shmendrick's successful return. Drin counted out the money on the spot from a leather pouch at his belt. "You'll spend the night in Hagsgate, of course," he said. "It would be pleased to put you up myself. Oh, my bad. I would be pleased to put you up myself." But the magician shook his head. "I think not. We will go on to the castle, since we're so near it now. The sooner there, the sooner back, eh?" And he grinned a crafty and conspirational grin. "Hager's castle is always dangerous," Drin warned, "but it is never more dangerous than at night." "They say that about Hagsgate, too," Shmendrick replied. "You mustn't believe everything you hear, Drin." He walked to the door of the inn, and Molly followed him. There he turned and beamed at the folk of Hagsgate, hunched in their finery. "I would like to leave you with this last thought," he told them. "The most professional curse ever snarled or croaked or thundered can have no effect on a pure heart. Good night." Outside the night lay coiled in the street, cobra cold, and scaled with stars. There was no moon. Shmendrick stepped out boldly, chuckling to himself and jingling his gold coins. Without looking at Molly, he said, "Suckers, to assume so lightly that all magicians dabble in death. Now, if they had wanted me to lift the curse, I might have done that for no more than the meal. I might have done it for a single glass of wine." "I'm glad you didn't," Molly said savagely. "They deserve their fate. They deserve worse. To leave a child out in the snow. Well, if they hadn't, he couldn't have grown up to be a prince. Haven't you ever been in a fairy tale before?" The magician's voice was kind of drunken, and his eyes were as bright as his new money. The hero has to come. Oh, my bad. The hero has to make a prophecy come true, and the villain is the one who has to stop him. Though in another kind of story, it's more often the other way around. The hero has to be in trouble from the moment of his birth, or he's not a real hero. It's a great relief to find out about Prince Lur. I've been waiting for this tale to turn up a leading man. The unicorn was there, as a star is suddenly there, moving a little way ahead of them. "A snail in the dark," Molly said. "If Lur is the hero, what is she?" "That's different. Haggard and Lur and Drin and you and I, we are in a fairy tale, and must go where it goes. But she is real. She is real." Shmendrick yawned and hiccuped and shivered all at once. "We'd better hurry," he said. "Perhaps we should have stayed the night, but old Drin makes me nervous. I'm sure I deceived him completely, but all the same." It seemed to Molly, dreaming and waking as she walked, that Hagsgate was stretching itself like a paw to hold the three of them back, curling around them and batting them gently back and forth, so that they trod in their own tracks over and over, In 100 years, they reached the last house and the end of the town. In another 50 years, they had blundered through the damp fields, the vineyards, and the crouching orchards. Molly dreamed that sheep leered at them from treetops, and that cold cows stepped on their feet and shoved them off the withering path. But the light of the unicorn sailed on ahead, and Molly followed it, awake or asleep. King Haggard's castle was stalking in the sky, a blind black bird that fished the valley by night. Molly could hear the breathing of its wings. Then the unicorn's breath stirred in her hair, and she heard Shmendrick asking, "How many men?" "3 men," the unicorn said. "They have been behind us since we left Hagsgate, but now they are coming swiftly. Listen." Steps too soft for their quickness, voices too muffled to mean any good. The magician rubbed his eyes. "Perhaps Drin has started to feel guilty about underpaying his prisoner," he murmured. "Perhaps his conscience is keeping him awake. Anything is possible. Perhaps I have feathers." He took Molly by the arm and pulled her down into a hard hollow by the side of the road. The unicorn lay nearby, still as moonlight, daggers gleaming like fish trails on a dark sea. A voice suddenly loud and angry. "I tell you, I've lost them. We passed them a mile back. We passed them a mile back, where I heard that rustling. I'm damned if I'll run any farther." "Be still," a second voice whispered fiercely. "Do you want them to escape and betray us? You're afraid of the magician, but you'd do better to be afraid of the Red Bull. If Haggard finds out about our half of the curse, he'll send the bull to trample us all into crumbs." The first man answered in a softer tone. "It isn't that I'm afraid. A magician without a beard is no magician at all. But we're wasting our time. They left the road and cut across country as soon as they knew we were following. We would chase along here all night and never come up with them." Another voice, warier than the first two. "We have chased them all night. Look over there. Dawn is coming." Molly found that she had wriggled halfway under Shmendrick's black cloak and buried her face in a clump of spiny dead grass. She dared not raise her head, but she opened her eyes and saw that the air was growing strangely light. The second man said, "You're a fool. It's a good 2 hours to morning. And besides, we're heading west." "In that case," the third voice replied, "I'm going home." Footsteps started briskly back up the road. The first man called, "Wait, don't go. Wait, I'll go with you." To the second man, he muttered hastily, "I'm not going home. I just want to retrace our trail a little way. I still think I heard them, and I've dropped my tinderbox somewhere." Molly could hear him edging off as he spoke. "Damn you for cowards," the second man swore. "Wait a moment, then. Will you wait till I try what Drin told me?" The retreating footsteps hesitated, and he chanted loudly, "Warmer than summer, more filling than food, sweeter than woman, and dearer than blood." "Hurry," the third voice said. "Hurry! Look at that sky! What is this nonsense?" Even the second man's voice was growing nervous. "It isn't nonsense. Drin treats his money so well that it cannot bear to be parted from him. Most touching relationship you ever saw. This is the way he calls out to it." He went on rapidly, quivering a little. "Stronger than water and kinder than dove. Say the name of the one you love." "Drin," rang the gold coins in Shmendrick's purse. Drin, 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 drin. Then everything happened. The ragged black cloak whipped against Molly's cheek as Shmendrick rolled to his knees, groping desperately for the purse. It buzzed like a rattlesnake in his hand. Sorry, guys, my little ones are asleep. I gotta put them to bed. Okay. He hurled it far into the brush, but the three men were running at them together, daggers as red as though they had already been struck. Beyond King Haggard's castle, a burning brightness was rising, breaking into the night like a great shoulder. The magician stood erect, menacing the attackers with demons, metamorphoses, paralyzing ailments, and secret judo holds. Molly picked up a rock. With an old, gay, terrible cry of ruin, the unicorn reared out of her hiding place. Her hoofs came slashing down like a rain of razors, her mane ragged, and on her forehead she wore a plume of lightning. The three assassins dropped their daggers and hid their faces, and even Molly Grew and Shmendrick cowered before her. But the unicorn saw none of them. Mad, dancing sea-white, she bellowed her challenge again. And the brightness answered her with a bellow like the sound of ice breaking up in the spring. Drin's men fled, stumbling and shrieking. Haggard's castle was on fire. Tossing wildly in a sudden cold wind, Molly said aloud, "But it has to be the sea. It's supposed to be." She thought that she could see a window as far away as it was and a gray face. Then the Red Bull came. Dang, guys. Alright, that's the end of chapter 7. That's crazy, guys. Actually. Are y'all staying hydrated? I hope y'all are staying hydrated. I'm drinking my juice. What is y'all's favorite juice? I like orange juice. But I'm drinking water now. Just because. Hold on a second. Let me read the comments that I missed. Let me see. Also, why does this dog look kind of clean? Oh, son of me. Okay. Yes, I can one day. Alright. I checked all the comments and I see what is going on. Alright, there's actually, like I said, a lot of books that I have. So a friend of mine gave me a book for Christmas, but it's like ginormous. It's 3 books in one, but the letters are super tiny, and the chapters are super long. For me, it's actually kind of hard, because we all have our taste in books, right? I like books with shorter chapters because it makes me feel like I'm going through it faster. But honestly, real, just talking, I think my favorite book, The Book of the King, has like medium-sized chapters. They're not huge, but they're not small either. I like, I would say, of what I've read of Don't Let the Forest In, I feel like that's one of my favorites. But nothing beats The Book of the King by Jerry B. Jenkins, Chris Farby. And it's like religious fiction. I don't read many religious fictions. That's the only one I've read. And it's kind of interesting, but I feel like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe are religious fiction. In a way, like if you really like study it and look into it, just because the creator is kind of a lot into theology and Christianity, and I feel like he implemented a lot of that knowledge into the book. But yeah. And not only that, but guys, yeah, like earlier today before work, I was playing Minecraft by myself, and I had a ton of diamond, I had a ton of iron, bars, and I fell, okay? The amethyst was a lie. Ugh, not my stuff. Please. But yeah, I think, well, I was expecting to like read more. I think I want to read more. I don't think I'm too loud, but I feel like the downstairs neighbors are getting kind of upset. Could be. I'm not sure. I'm not being really loud actually. So I don't understand what's going on with that. But yeah. And there's like a few more chapters left to this book. So I was wondering like if y'all would like it, I wouldn't mind reading the rest of this. I feel like it's about to get interesting for real. Or I could leave it for some other time, honestly. It'd be up to y'all. Um or up to me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. If y'all want, after I finish this book, I can have a Q&A live stream where y'all can ask to get to know me a little more. Or anything like that, like what I like and stuff. Like cute, innocent stuff. I don't want to answer any weird stuff. But yeah. I honestly, after I started showing my face more, like my character more, instead of playing games, I noticed that I'm getting a lot more like weird people on here. So I don't know. Really don't know how to feel about that. But I'm also getting like to talk with y'all more, and also like saving more money because 105 games, guys. Oh my god. Ugh, crazy, right? When I started the channel, it was like a Let's Play channel, and it was meant to be like a way for me to finish my backlog, right? Well, let me tell y'all, it did not work. D, but it should be fine. Everything's fine. I really think the walls in here are really thin. Not gonna lie. Because if the people downstairs are like talking like at a normal volume, and they can hear me and I can hear them, then that's pretty bad. Yeah. I was like remembering where we used to like live and how like bad they were. So I'm like, ooh, oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm kind of scared now, living in an apartment, like ending up with like scary people. No, but yeah, for real. Cause they've been like kind of knocking around the walls, so I don't know if I'm being loud. Cause I don't feel like I'm being loud. I feel like I'm talking like at a reasonable volume. I especially try to be a little quieter just for them, but they like turn on their music really loud, like very unthoughtful. And I'm like, I don't want any issues. Let me try to be a little quieter, but they're over here like knocking on the walls and stuff, and putting their music on really loud. So I don't know like what's going on in that case. Yeah, I can kind of hear them talking, bruh. Guys, don't forget to stay hydrated, okay? Stay hydrated. See the book? The book is about to get to the good part. But I think I'll leave that for next time. And the next time will probably be like on Monday or Tuesday. I think since I work, I can't really like stream every day and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Although I wish I could. Honestly, that would be like for the best, you know? But yeah. And also as I said, I've been playing more games. I've been playing ReZero Prophecy of the Throne cuz once I finished like making videos for it, I didn't pick it up again. But now I'm playing it and it's actually pretty interesting. And I think there's like new paths and everything as well in that game, so there's a lot I could do. You know what I'm saying? And also in the case of like what to stream, like I might stream video game streams here and there, but I'm not I'm not planning to like add any randoms, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I'm very selective, even though like I do get what's it called, lonely very often. I do have very selective, like I am very picky with who I make friends with. Specifically for the reason that there's a lot of weirdos and stuff like that. So if anything, I want it to be known that I have an iron hammer and stuff, and I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like I am not trying to be friends with any weird people or anything like that. Like for example, I had like this person at work try to be like making fun, like trying to like be funny and stuff, but the way they were doing it was very like distasteful and very rude and stuff. So I let them know, right? And they took offense to it when I like, try to set boundaries around that, right? Hi. Hi. Low Lowlight, how you doing? Hello. So yeah, make sure that y'all set boundaries with your friends if they're kind of being rude to y'all. But when I did, she like started saying that she wanted to like beat me up, and I was just like, bruh, I liked you. But anyways, yeah. Um, how are you doing, low light? Me, you missed the like, the part of the book where Shmendrick and Molly and the unicorn ended up in Hagsgate, and it's actually a very prosperous city with a bunch of like rumors that it's terrible, right? To keep them safe from fulfilling a prophecy that would bring ruin to Hagsgate and to the King Haggard. Because if one of them falls, they both fall, basically, because the witch cursed both Hagsgate and the what's it called? King Haggard's castle. So yeah. But that is the recap. That is what was missed. Um, but honestly, yeah. That's what happened, guys. I really like more pleasant interactions with my friends. I like to joke, I like to see movies, I like to play games, and I like to do a lot of stuff. But yes. Also, oh my goodness. I wish my friends didn't live so far away. They live like an hour or something like that away from me. But if I could hang out with them, I would really like to go to a museum. I really enjoy going to museums actually. And also like the zoo and stuff. I mean, oh my gosh. Ah, the good old days. Oh my goodness. Throwback. But yeah, and then like it makes really nice stories. Like that one time where I went with my friend to the museum and she didn't like pictures, but I was like, come on, like I'll give you the copy or whatever, you know? And then when I took a picture, she stuck up her middle finger. I was like, and she looked away from the camera. So you just see like the back of her head and the middle finger next to her brother. It was so funny. Ah, good old days. And then my other friend, we would go eat together and we would walk together. Like I'm not much for exercise, but if I'm like if my friend asks me to exercise, I will. I'm like, bro, I got you. Ride or die. But yeah. And it is 9:15. My throat is actually pretty tired, guys. Molly Gru's voice is a little bit like intense, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was debating reading the next one, but let me see. Mm, yeah, I might have to leave it for Monday. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please stay hydrated. Have a great day or night, and bye. Bye bye. It was fun. Have a great day. Bye bye.